Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Todd Schweitzer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Broncos. I'm also representing the APIX Strategic Advisory Council. I'd like to welcome you all to the first, hopefully first of many online meetups for the APIX community. And I think this one's quite relevant as a starting point. Number one, certainly with the COVID situation that we're all experiencing, online financial services are now top of mind. And I think APIX is a great place for fintechs and FIs to learn from one another, and also try out new online financial products that may, several months ago may have been a nice to have and are now very quickly becoming a must have. For the sector, and I think APIX is meant to facilitate all of this. I think the vision of APIX, which you'll hear from Manish and from Sopnendu and some of the APIX participants, is really to really reduce friction and make it much easier for online financial services to be co-created between fintech side and bank side, or insurance, as it may be. So I think I'm happy to introduce our speakers for today. First off, we'll have Manish Diwaan. He's the managing director of APIX, and he'll share a very quick intro to the APIX platform. Just for the knowledge of the participants, I mean, this is the first of many webinars and online sessions to both familiarize the APIX community with the tools and solutions that are available on APIX, but also to really drive some community conversations, right? So whether that's having kind of interesting speakers to the table, brainstorming new product ideas, I think this is the forum for that. So expect more events and more ways to participate in the APIX community and build these new online financial services partnerships. So I'll stop there and introduce Manish, who is the boss man for AFIN, the ASEAN Financial Innovation Network. And he's also day-to-day thinking about and managing the APIX platform. And he can share more. Thanks, Manish.
Thanks for that, Todd, and thanks everybody for taking time out to get together for this first of the many, like Todd mentioned, webinars that we will have with the APIX community. I will just quickly take you through it, just in case if you are still not updated as to what we do. We'll spend a couple of minutes on that and immediately jump into what we have as the COVID-19 response support for our fantastic fintech community in Singapore and in a larger ASEAN region. So may I request Christine to pull up the slides. So like the name suggests, supercharge your institutional collaborations with APIX, and we will jump into slide 1. So everybody understands that there is a certain need for innovation, but when you try and innovate, it's a pretty strong struggle. There is limited market access to build credibility for fintechs. There are long sales and prototyping cycles, anywhere between 6 to 14 months, and 15 meetings to secure one prototype, and difficulty of entering production phases. 10 to 20% success rate in best case scenario. Plus, look at the takeaways, the statement there. USD 150 to 200K spent on door-to-door sales cost on an annual basis, and this is what our friends in the community, fintech community, tell us, and we talk to a lot of people. Next slide. APIX is the platform for collaborative innovation, and perhaps one of the world's first open innovation platform on cloud. It comes built in with all these 5 very, very critical elements required for a speedy innovation cycle. To speed up the digitization process, which is the center of it is a public sandbox on cloud, and we have built the ecosystem around it by way of a global fintech marketplace, in-house data APIs which replicate any standard banking transaction for you to not worry about information security clearances from financial institutions, to be able to showcase your solutions on the solution catalog. You can literally put your solution through a GitHub account onto the APIX solution catalog if it is something that cannot be built on the APIX sandbox, plus also the community of which all of us are part of, and you know, it enables the knowledge sharing. It enables you to, you know, have conversations so that all of us grow together. That's how we are trying to bridge the gap between financial institutions and the fintech ecosystem. Next slide, please. Now, APIX is the way forward for global fintech ecosystem. It is built for multiple types of, now fintech is, for lack of a better term, fintech is just one, fintech can then be, you know, graduated into, you know, AI, ML, chatbot, RegTech, SupTech, payments, KYC, etc. And it helps you collaborate with retail banks, commercial banks, insurance companies. We have Prudential with us today, central banks, capital market players, system integrators, investors. APIX can provide you a lot of leverage by way of becoming your go-to profile when you are pitching it to investors, because it is going to tell the investors how many financial institutions are subscribing to your APIs, how many financial institutions are actually looking at your APIs, what are people talking about your APIs. And that's extremely critical, because that information is not available for any investor anywhere. It's available on APIX, and you could utilize that information to your advantage. Next slide, please. How can we help you realize your potential as a fintech? By way of business development, get access to a regional network. Our regional network of financial institutions, we operate across South Asia today. Speedy prototyping, be discovered and build prototypes very quickly. We have built prototypes, and I believe our friends from Tiger will talk about that. With Prudential, how fast the prototyping exercise has become on APIX. Brand exposure, it needs to be a one-stop marketing channel. You could do hackathons with to co-create products. You could participate in hackathons. You're going to hear some good information about that very soon. You could look at investments like I talked about, or learning and development. You know, you can upskill your teams, bring them to APIX, try out different tools available to upskill your teams. And you need to explore the platform's flexibility to help you realize your immediate value. Next screen, please. And these are some of the collaborations which have already happened on the APIX platform. Global names there, Citi, Prudential, MasterCard, Maybank, National Stock Exchange, by volume, the largest stock exchange in the world, National Stock Exchange of India. And some of these names are your fintech community members, Dataphonics, Tiger, Uppsala, Hair.com, Trusting Social, Active AI, Remit Online, so on and so forth. All these guys have been able to create prototypes for some or more of these financial institutions who are already there on the APIX platform. And some are actually moving to production as we speak. Next slide, please. APIX is a not-for-profit entity registered in Singapore. Our public interest founding members include ASEAN Bankers Association, IFC's World Bank, MAS. Corporate founding members include AMTD Foundation Hong Kong, MasterCard, and it is built and it is operated through a consortium of partners, which includes Virtusa, Deloitte, Percipient, and Fedor. We also have created a fantastic, what we call as a strategic advisory council. This is our window to the world, to the commercial aspect of things, and also helps us connect to our ecosystem partners in a much deeper way. Singapore FinTech Association is a member of our advisory council. MasterCard Brancas, which is represented by Todd here, Bank of New York Mellon, AWS, AMTD Foundation, and Experian, the credit bureau. So we have a large ecosystem of our in-house organization who are helping these, who are helping us to put together these pieces of puzzle and support the ecosystem in return. Next slide, please. And as you would have recently seen, we have recently launched what we call as APIX Care program with support from MAS, Prudential, and AWS. MAS has come out with a fantastic offer through APIX to support the fintech community in Singapore. You need to be a Singapore registered fintech to avail a 6 months free access to APIX. Prudential has been kind enough to provide a complimentary insurance top-up to all your employees, anybody who is an APIX Care member on the APIX platform. Plus also our friends in AWS have offered credit anywhere between cloud credit between $5,000 US to $25,000 US, depending upon the funding series that you are on. And this comes to you immediately upon as soon as you complete your profile. This comes to you. Can I move to the next slide? And this is the big one. You know, our board members, AMTD, have been very, very kind to provide 2 separate schemes totaling more than 50 million Sing dollars called as AMTD ASEAN Solidarity Fund. This has 2 schemes under it, which is the SFA Grant scheme, which is essentially helping you do your POCs on the APIX platform and be eligible for a grant of up to 20,000 Sing dollars from AMTD and matching grants from some of the other partners. And then there is the big one, which is the Solidarity Investment Scheme. So we all understand, you know, COVID has completely thrown things out of gear, and AMTD will provide opportunities for fintech by co-investing alongside identified investment partners. And you need to be, again, registered in ASEAN, and you should be able to, you know, use the APIX platform to apply this. To apply for this investment scheme. The application form is currently live. You can go to the APIX platform and utilize any of these schemes that are currently on. We went live day before yesterday on these. Move to the next slide. And besides that, like I said, you get 25,000 US dollars, up to 25,000 US dollars as cloud credit. We also work with GCP to offer you some cloud credits. There's also workspace promotion from Ascenda SynBridge. You get discount on the rack rate. And the last item on my list would be our friends in 2 organizations that I would like to quote here. Taiger and Active AI have been very generous to offer a fantastic solution to all our APIX members, where you can go ahead and utilize the chatbot solutions provided by Active AI or Taiger, depending upon whom you like better, for your individual requirements as an organization. And also in return, you can already, you know, these prices are already discounted by the 2 organizations. On top of that, you can get up to 80% of that also co-funded by the MS Digital Acceleration Grant. So you actually end up paying around 20%. So it's discounted, and there's further support available from MAS. It becomes about 20%. Thank you to Shankar and Brian for these generous offers. And I believe that would be all from my side. And if there are any questions for us, please reach out. You could put them on the chat and we'll try and answer as many as we can. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Manish. So let me just recap the rest of the agenda for this session. So next we're going to have Sopnendu Mohanty. He's the Chief FinTech Officer for MAS, and he'll go into a bit more detail about these new benefits for APIX members. And just to repeat, you know, these benefits, particularly the Solidarity Fund, the prerequisite for all of this is having a full company profile on APIX. So that's the starting point for all of this. Sopnendu has to drop off right at 4:30, but after that, we will have a few short case studies which will give a little bit more of a real world use case of how companies, in this case, Prudential, Ephesoft, and Tiger, have used APIX to build new products together. And then the last 10 minutes will be for Q&A. However, please, we'll be monitoring the Q&A kind of throughout the presentation. So please drop your questions onto there, and then I and the team will filter those and send them over to the speakers. With that, Sop, over to you.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, so let me start saying thanks to the team to have put together this this wonderful short webinar. But before I start talking about the benefit for APIX Care, let me share with you in last 2 minutes something exciting has happened. And today we have launched by far the world's largest online global hackathon. Think about it. This is not about a bank or a finance institution. It is for the regulators, for the central bankers, for the supervisor. The biggest online hackathon on the APIX platform. It went live a few minutes back. This whole event will be is under a joint program between G20 Presidency of Saudi Arabia, Bank of International Settlement, MAS, and the AFIN institution. The team have come together to put together this massive hackathon, and we are inviting globally, wherever you are located, fintechs, regtech, subtech companies to participate and put the solution. And we are hoping to select a winner towards the end of the year, and with some nice report profiling to the finalist. So I'm quite excited. And I think what I'm really proud for the team is that this is launched right inside the COVID-19 environment, which clearly shows the central bankers and the regulators have stepped up their game. They're going digital. They're going more digital than you can ever imagine. They're putting their whole hackathon in this complete digital platform, which kind of defines COVID-19, where we are all heading to. And it's a great segue for me to start saying that one thing, once we come out of COVID-19, we will see a massive change in the way we do things. Banks, insurance companies, asset management companies, financial institutions in general will see more digital tools part of their systems, part of the processes. And strangely, we call it the C-suite influence, the CEO or a CTO or a CFO. We have a COVID virus, which is influencing this digital transformation. So thanks to COVID-19 virus, I think all of us will get into the digital platforms, digital services faster than we thought. And with that shift, it is a great news for fintechs, regtech, insurtech companies to start selling their solutions to those FIs. And to do that, I think there cannot be any better platform in my mind than APIX. Because why it is good? For a few reasons. First thing, when you are going to do a sales pitch to somebody, some insurer in Vietnam, in this situation, it's just not possible. You can't travel, you can't be there, you can't have a face-to-face discussion. The API Exchange platform provides you a full suite of features which allows you to do everything you have done if you have to meet somebody physically. Simple thing about yourself, your APIs, your sandbox. If you want to get your client to tell, okay, give me your data box or your APIs, I can show you what can I do together with you. If you don't have your sandbox, I can build something for you of the APIX platform, which mimics your platform of the client. So we have provided a very thoughtful, a wide range of features in this platform so that you can do your sales pitching efficiently, effectively, and more thoughtfully. And to do that, the first part of the APIX Care program was to give all the Singapore-based fintech a free access to the platform for 6 months. And the reason we did it because we knew that this is the time. This is the best time fintech can take advantage of to get the solutions to the FIs and their client. And there's nothing better than to get to APIX and get there. The second thing we looked at is a lot of the companies will have an operating challenges. And in fact, I was looking at one of the recent report by a very well-known investment analyst company, and they were predicting that within a month, if COVID-19 stays the way it is today, we will see almost 20% drop in the combined valuation of the top 50 fintech companies, which translate to a $500 billion valuation. They will see a close to $100 billion worth of valuation going down. And that because this 6 months time has many challenges. There are challenges for cash flow. There are challenges of getting the client. There are challenges in investment capital coming for new product development. So to solve that piece, we are also offering within the APIX Care program an access to investors, which I think Manish spoke about it. So if you are a startup, if you are and you have those kind of challenges, you can still go to APIX and look for opportunity to fund your or to sustain your business. And more importantly, you cannot, as I have explained, being an APIX gives you a profile, gives you an access to a client, or you can have a client discussion. Because you are doing all this thing, that data is very useful for investors to back you up if you need short-term cash and liquidity. And to that, we have an announcement that AMTD Group has partnered with APIX Platform to create a Solidarity Fund for all ASEAN fintech. This is not only Singapore, anywhere in ASEAN you are located. If you have a client in APIX Platform, if you are doing a POC, you will be eligible for this fund. This fund allows you to tap into short-term liquidity requirement, whether through debts or through convertibles or through equity, whatever structures you are comfortable. We have set up a process. In fact, in my recent LinkedIn post, I talked about A, B, C, D of the principle behind this fund. First thing, it is timely. We made the announcement when we required to make it. B, it's a very broad-based. It has covered everything. And C, it is clear on its criteria. It's written in your website. You can go there and check. If you qualify the criteria, you're in. And most importantly, we want to ensure there is a real distribution of this fund. And to do that, we have made a commitment. Within 14 days of your application, you will receive a note from AFIN platform saying, are you selected for the investors to look at you? So that commitment brings transparency to this process. As we believe in crisis like this, clarity, transparency is very critical for fintechs to get over the headwinds. So that's the ASEAN Solidarity Fund. And what we continue to do, and of course, thanks to Prudential, thanks to AWS, we have a whole suite of ancillary benefits being given to fintechs through this platform. What essentially we want to make, and that's the end state we want to go, where all of us, whether we are a FI or we are a startup, we have a platform through which we do our sales, we do our experiments, we raise our capital, we exchange ideas, and hopefully together we can build that digital hub within the ASEAN world or beyond and grow this to me a most exciting part of the financial sector. And there's a question being asked many times to me, so I'm going to end with that line, that if you want to save businesses in this crisis, are you going to why to focus on the startups? My answer to that, startups is our future. If you don't protect them now, I think the future will be very dark. So my strong belief that standing behind all of you will help the economy to recover faster post COVID-19. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me, and do let me know and drop me a note if you have further clarification or question. I have to step out because I have a meeting, but I'm looking forward to work with all of you.
Thanks very much, Sop. Appreciate it. Maybe just a couple of questions before we go into the use case, specifically related to the investment fund. So one is, so to clarify, who are the investment partners besides AMTD? And then also, maybe Manish or Sop, you could share a bit more, just a bit more detail about like what the steps are that or some info about the process, the decision-making process, how people are, how the potential investee companies would be selected.
Manish, you want to take it?
Sure. So first requirement is for the investment scheme that you need to be in ASEAN as a registered entity in ASEAN as a fintech. Step 1. Step 2, you have to have APIX membership, and you need to be APIX profile has to be completed 100%. Even if it is 99%, the apply button will not show up. Okay, so you need to do that part. Once you are able to complete your profile, you go to the tab which is provided on the APIX platform to apply. If Jerry or Todd, if you guys can pull up the screen, that would be nice. Otherwise, it's bang there in the front landing page. So you go there, apply. You need to fill up the required additional items which are required by AMTD. Once you are able to do that, APIX has created an investment committee which will screen all the applications. The recommended part of this application process are two. One, see, everybody will fill 100% profile. We have no way to, identify good versus very good, right? So how do you do that? Now, APIX is the perfect place for you to showcase your capabilities. So we encourage everybody who is applying for the AMTD investment scheme to upload your APIs, okay? Because that's your way of showing to us that this is what your capabilities are, so that we are able to make a more informed decision, and AMTD is able to make a more informed decision. In case if you're not able to upload your APIs, use the APIX IDE to stitch together your solution on the IDE environment and put your solution on the solution catalog. These are two recommended steps that we have for you. The application process itself is pretty straightforward. We look at your application, we look at your profile, we look at whether you have APIs, we look at whether you have solutions, and we meet internally within the APIX investment committee every 14 days to come back to you to explain to you that your application has been processed and sent forward to AMTD. AMTD investment team takes it up from there onwards, and they come back to you if they have any further questions that they need to be answered. So that's on the AMTD investment scheme front. On the grant side, it's pretty straightforward. You need to be SFA registered. That means you need to be a Singapore origin, Singapore registered fintech. You need to have your SFA certificate in place. And you can go to the SFA website to procure one. You need to come to the APIX platform, complete your profile 100%. That's a basic qualifier again. Second step, upload your API, recommended step, upload your solution. Again, a recommended step to help us identify good from very good, like in the investment side. And once you're able to do that, stitch together your prototype, your experiment on the APIX IDE with the bank or financial institution of your choice anywhere in ASEAN. So you have to be SFA registered. The financial institution can be anywhere in ASEAN. And once you're able to do that, you come back to us, you reach out to us. As APIX platform, we issue you a completion certificate of POC. You can go back to SFA and claim your 20,000 Sing dollars grant. Plus, there's going to be additional grant, which is going to come from matching grant, which is going to come from few other enterprises, and we are working on that as well. Manish, you want to add to the matching grant part?
I think, yeah, matching grant is, we are also, is one we're looking at, we're going to shortly announce soon. We are looking at somewhere close to $50,000 for every POC you do on APIX. That's the number we're looking at, but the announcement is due in a couple of days.
Yeah, thanks.
And Manish, could you clarify, we've been talking about fintechs registering. We have some questions around what qualifies as the right solution, right? Is it API provider only? Is it, you know, when you say fintech, are you referring to specific categories?
Okay.
I know it's kind of a big question, but maybe you could help clarify.
You know, let me take that question because that has been asked many a time. I think don't worry about the labels. If you are solving a financial institution technical need or a technology need through a solution need through a technology solution, call yourself fintech. Okay, don't worry about whether you are called fintech or regtech or insurtech, doesn't matter. Second thing, if you have a public API or a private API for integration, very good news, come and publish it. Third, if you don't have APIs, if you don't have your own closed loop API, APIX will actually help you to create a simulate your own system in a data sandbox and API structure within the platform, which means you don't have API on your own to publish, but we can replicate a sandbox within the APIX platform, which represents your data and your API in a synthetic form so that a partner can come and use it to integrate and build prototype with you. So this is the API story. So we will find a way which allows you to do testing, prototyping, and integration trials with your potential client within the platform.
Great, thank you, Sop. And we have another question, which is, I'll just read it because I think it's an important one. The biggest challenge for fintechs right now is to find a financial institution ready to do a POC with a startup or proof of concept with a startup. Can APIX help in bridging the gap? I mean, I think that's one of the fundamental purposes of APIX, right? Is to create these discovery and collaboration opportunities, right?
Let me make it easy for you. If you are finding difficult, now is your time. We're giving you APIX access free. Second thing, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you $50,000 Singapore dollar if you get a POC done. Call your FI and you should tell them, you know what? I have money to show you your prototype. Please join me. So we are giving you a tool. You are giving an incentive. Find a client, get your POC done, and hopefully by doing a good work for your client, you'll get a real contract.
Sorry, okay, wonderful. Okay, I think Caitlin, anything to add, or any other thoughts before we move on to the case studies? And I think the case studies will help to bring this out because these are real world examples from some of the early adopters
I think we
found a way to do a POC.
Meg and Brian and the guys to take it up because that's the proof of the pudding that we have.
Yeah.
And just before I leave, I want to ensure that there are a few things. First thing, a lot of questions on how. I think we have addressed the question. If there are technical bottlenecks for you to do something in APIX, we are a non-profit platform. We can find a way to get it fixed. In terms of grants and supports, we are working through the process. We are hoping we'll create some. In fact, before I go, I completely forgot to talk about it. We have a digital acceleration grant where we offer, if your solution, if you're offering to small FIs, I think we cover up to $120,000. So look at all the grants available on the digital acceleration program. Use APIX to use this grant to deliver your solutions. So if you still struggle, do write to us. We'll find a way to get there.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for the time.
Yes. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks. All right, Magdalene, over to you and the Prudential use case with Ephesoft and Taiger.
Well, thank you very much. It's really a privilege to be here. So this is Magdalene, Head of Innovation at Prudential. We're really happy that we got onto the APIX platform. And we heard this from Soup, of course, when he visited us last year in one of our events. Really interestingly, we have come on as the first insurer in Singapore. And thanks to Manish and his team's very strong support, we have done 3 POCs this year already, and 1 successfully implemented. right? So I think that's a first for us as well. Some of the statistics that Manish was rattling off, you know, the time it takes to do a POC, the time it takes to sort of find partners, the time it takes to just, you know, get your legal and compliance. For those of you from FIs, you'll understand the pain points of some of these. And I guess from the other side, the fintech side as well, right? It's a waiting game. You submit something and then nobody gets back to you for months. We've sort of managed to do away with that process largely by working with the APIX team on the APIX platform. And the people you'll hear from later from Taiger and Ephesoft, I think hopefully will echo the same sentiments that it's been a smooth process, it's been fast for us, it's been really, really effective. In the past, we used to have problems in the company asking people to step out of their comfort zone, look at new technology, look at emerging technology, because, you know, people in the company don't really understand, not everybody understands this stuff. And, you know, they have 1 or 2 bad experiences and it takes 6 months for the legal contract to get approved. After that, they don't really want to do stuff like that anymore. But with the sort of current progress that has been made, we have had really, really good positive responses from our internal stakeholders as well. And these people are coming to us and saying, well, how can we work with you, the innovation team, to reach out with more, to more fintechs, right? And Prudential, as you know, we are a regional company, very active in the region. Just today, before this call, I was talking to some regional colleagues, and it was a solution that was introduced to us just last week. We spoke to our regional colleagues, and I think the plan now is to test and roll it out across the region. So that's the potential there with us, right? And saying this really in response to one of the questions earlier that was along the lines of, well, so how do you get a fintech to do POCs with us? Well, we are constantly looking, and I think we are not the only ones in the industry constantly looking, right? We have very aggressive, I would say, expansion plans in Asia in the digital space. COVID has certainly sped up a lot of things, digital acceleration, transformation. It's happened like really, really quickly. All 5,000 of our agents are now on Zoom, for example, right? Before COVID, like a handful, because agents always like to see you face to face, for example. But now people are saying, how can we get more of this stuff? So definitely a lot of opportunities. It's just that we sometimes might not be able to find each other easily, but through the APIX platform, we found that has largely been solved. I'm also here in the other capacity, right? So one as a user of the APIX platform, but then the other capacity is really as an insurer. So COVID's hitting everybody really hard. And as an insurance company, we were asking ourselves, what can we do for the ecosystem that we belong to, that we're part of, and that we really want to be sort of contributing to as well in this very challenging time for everybody. So when MAS and AFIN came up to us to ask what can we do, we came up with this insurance policy that we want to be offering to all of you fintechs here. So this is a personal accident plan. It's free, right? In case you think I'm trying to sell you something here. No, it's absolutely free. It's part of what we are trying to do in support of the MAS COVID response and the APIX Cares package. So a little bit of introduction, and later I think we can share the link as well, right? So we have Pro Affinity personal accident plan, a few things that we do here. It's all about getting the customers, some coverage in respect of personal accident. So $20,000 coverage if you get, or your staff get retrenched for any reason. I hope not, because of all the opportunity APIX is providing, but just in case, the coverage then goes up to $50,000. There is dengue coverage. There is also COVID coverage. So Prudential has already paid out, I think, in excess of $800,000 just from the COVID package. So that's like $200 in terms of daily hospitalization, as well as a one-time cash benefit if you are quarantined. So that's our little way of giving back, and we hope you make full use of it. We can share the links to you later as well. Right, so I'm just going to end off by saying thank you especially to Ephesoft and Taiger, who have done some of the POCs with us, and I think I'm going to hand back the time to them in a bit. But in conclusion, I'd just like to say they have been fantastic partners. Some POCs work out, some of them don't quite work out yet. But I think the good thing is really that we are continue to be in conversations, and then we are exploring further possibilities, even with the partners whose POCs didn't work out at first instance, right? So yeah, just want to say thank you again to the APIX team for having us here, and we remain a committed partner in this ecosystem and on the APIX platform. So feel free to ping me, look me up if you have any questions on how you think you might be able to work with Prudential, as well as if you are interested in the Pru Affinity personal accident plan. There's a link that you can sign up on, and that's on our website as well. So thank you very much.
All right, Ike, over to you.
All right, let's see if my camera starts. There we go. Hi, everybody. Good morning from Los Angeles. So let me start with myself and Ephesoft. I am the founder and the CEO of Ephesoft. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Ephesoft helps organizations maximize their productivity and fuel their journey towards autonomous enterprise. We automated back-end office processes for about 1,000 customers now, and then our customers are in 52 countries. We have an impressive list of customers. You might recognize some of those names: DBS Bank, PayPal, ABN AMRO, Allianz, Toyota Financials, Honda Logistics. Transact is our flagship platform. It provides data acquisition, data capture, and data enrichment from document-based processes, so we can automate them. One of the ways that we do our job is the machine learning AI. We've actually gotten our patent on machine learning-based data extraction in 2016, before it was even AI was cool. Now, next slide, please. So let me tell you about what we've worked with Prudential. The toughest project we were told was invoices in a hospital, and it was about capturing the data from these invoices, not only for invoice number, invoice total, and discount codes, but also line items on multiple invoices. So we were also told this project is very difficult. A few other vendors failed, and we were given about 30 days to figure it out. In fact, my team in Singapore, we have a local team in Singapore, took their weekend. In 2 days, we actually got the system up and running. And I think, if I remember correctly, we've achieved about 95% automation rates. It was a slam dunk for us. But there was also another project. The automating the invoices were not the first one. The first project that we were tasked with was actually redacting the sensitive data on credit cards. And this is where I can also tell you about the power of APIX Platform. We have put our system, our APIs integrated under the APIX Platform, and the Prudential was able to test our technology with a single endpoint. And this system is also very automated, so there is no human in the loop. You can actually redact the sensitive data all autonomously without any humans. So this APIs are also available on the APIX system. Anyone can use. This is also a very good leeway, I think, for me to explain the benefits of APIX platform. By having our APIs there, and it was very easy for us to put it there, our APIX clients can actually test our capabilities instantly. The proof of concepts become very, very easy. The ability to test our platform with a single click and then connecting to our APIs there has actually been awesome experience for a vendor like us. So
hey, Ike, and
yeah.
Ike, and there was a question from one of the attendees around protecting IP. So how does the APIX platform ensure that, or how do you ensure through APIX that your intellectual property is going to be protected?
Sure.
Can you give a point of view, or maybe Manish can jump in too?
Makes it very protected. So think about this: you've developed your own IP. You have a technology that does something great, and you need to put that onto a AWS cloud, another cloud, Azure cloud, and you have to go to a financial institution and ask them to access that API to do something. APIX actually makes it very easy for you to display your software to the customer. So they have no access to your IP. They only have access to what your IP can do. So I think it's very safe. You should have no worry about that. And at the startup phase, the most important thing for you, I think, is to get some customers. The fact that your IP is also protected is an added bonus, I think. So our experiences have been great. We working with Prudential was awesome. APIX was also created opportunity for us to accelerate the engagement with the end user, so we can actually fix the problem in a few days. It was awesome. So thank you for having me, and I'll also tell other financial institutions on the call, if you have a challenging document capture, data capture, and the data enrichment projects, normally I say call us, but this time I'm going to say go to APIX and try us there. Thank you.
Awesome.
I just want to
Thanks,
echo
Ike.
that endorsement as well. I think our tech team was super impressed by Ephesoft.
Thank you. I'll accept that on behalf of my team in Singapore. Thank you. They're on the line.
All right, and thanks for joining from LA. I had no idea, man. So guess you can go to bed now.
My pleasure. I'm a night owl. I don't sleep much.
All right.
Thanks for having
me. Ike.
Thank you.
Next is Brian Tan from Tiger to talk about Prudential and the Tiger chatbot case study. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks, Todd. Good evening, everybody. So I'm Brian from Tiger, and here at Tiger, we actually specialize in advanced AI engineering access solutions. Next, Christine. Our advanced chatbot has proven to reduce costs and, of course, increase efficiencies while trimming processes for organizations. As you can see, we actually can recommend, we can inform, and we can also transact within the bot. Next, Christine. So for the use case, in particular for the chatbot for Prudential, it was basically to showcase autocomplete and the ability to train IBM Watson, the current chatbot within Prudential. The POC actually went very well. We showcased both. We went above and beyond that to show that basically our chatbot, if all else failed, had the ability to actually fail over to a search function to actually give results, so that instead of pushing a user to a call center, it could just show the results, right? So let's move on to the next one. Yes, the experience we had with APIX, so the POC experience was made actually very great with APIX. As using them as our platform, and we actually broke away from the chains of security approvals for system environments or system usage within a customer's environment, and also within our own Taiger platform. So the security and the speed or velocity of being able to actually do a POC on the APIX platform was a big plus for us. So with that, actually, for Taiger, it's actually a thumbs up. And actually, going forward, we want to use APIX as our default POC platform because of the velocity that comes with that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brian. Mag, anything to add?
Opportunity to say thank you to you as well. Your team really went really in depth to understand our requirements. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think we have some further conversations ongoing. So yeah,
yes,
look forward to finalizing those other POCs as well.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Mag. Okay, we have some time for open questions of any of the panelists today. Manish is here to answer any questions related to APIX or the grant and investment funds available. I think one question we wanted to clarify was just about eligibility. And Manish, maybe you can jump in here, but to participate as a member of APIX, it's open to companies all around the world. This is not a, this is a global platform for collaboration. I'm sorry?
You heard Ephesoft, they're from LA, right?
Yep,
so
yep.
As long as you are somebody like Sop was explaining, somebody who's trying to make life better for financial institutions, good for us.
Yep, yep. So there are some, as Sop mentioned, some of the recent benefits, in the last month, there's some restrictions around whether they're a Singapore-based company or operating in ASEAN, but to be a member on APIX and participate in a POC and do the matchmaking between a financial institution and a technology company, that's open globally. Another question so Manish, this is a bit, I think, technical, but I think an important one to clarify. So how closely does the APIX development environment and the APIX POC integration environment mirror that of the production space, right? Because you're building this POC on the APIX platform. If you then need to take it offline, it's a completely different set of technical requirements. Then there might be some lag there, right? So if you could share a bit of detail there.
Yes, we understand that part. Okay, so let's look at it like this. If you were to be in the real world, in a non-APIX real world, you would anyways be doing both the sides of the thing, right? You would be doing a demo activity, a POC in the real sense, and then you would be moving it to production. Bank or financial institution would expose some information, some data to you. So APIX, like I explained during my presentation, APIX comes built in with almost 3 million rows of synthetic data, which replicate any standard banking transaction. So we take care of that part, not completely, but to a large extent, right? Because in the real world, without APIX, you would never have access to that information at all, right? What APIX also does is remove the requirement for you to, plus also besides the synthetic data, we also have what we call as connector APIs, which replicate a core banking system, right? For any transactions which need to have, say, for example, a continuity, for example, interest generation, right? If you're doing something on the CASA side or on the deposit side or on the lending side, right? You could use these to actually replicate a core banking system data set, right? So that's one. Secondly, what we also allow you to do is that once you have been able to stitch together your experiment with the core connector APIs or the synthetic data APIs or using the, your financial institution APIs, we allow you to port the code that you have created onto your GitHub account, which can then be utilized to a larger extent on the production side as well. Now, we understand that there would be some changes that would be required because it's moving to production. But yes, you will be able to use some part of your code that you have created here. That's one. Secondly, what APIX allows, by definition, like I said, you know, it's a prototyping exercise. It's an experimentation tool for you, right? So it helps you arrive to a conclusion very, very fast on what your actual product would end up looking like, or thereabouts, right? It's not production, right? So I hope that answers.
Okay. There's another question, Manish, about the current activity on the APIX platform. So it says the latest case seems to be from September 2019. So is there a future outlook on activity? Do you expect that there's going to be a spike, or have you already noticed a spike in collaborations taking place on APIX? I don't
understand the part of September. If you can please write the part which is September, because the Ephesoft and the Taiger experimentations on APIX happened, I think Ephesoft was 2 weeks back, Taiger was about 4 weeks back. So, and there are a couple of them, others who are also ongoing as we speak. So I'm not really sure if I get the question correct.
Okay. We'll see if there's a clarification. But yeah, I think from our side, there is, I mean, we know there's hundreds of fintechs and FIs that have already signed up, and there's several ongoing collaborations right now. Okay. I think if there aren't any other questions, I suggest, there's a lot of information on apixplatform.com. There is a public community where we're posting articles, questions, comments, clarifications, FAQs about APIX on the public community. And then for those that have signed up for membership and are logged in, there is a wealth of information and tutorials on how to use it. And one thing that I personally like a lot is the APIX team has mapped various business processes for financial institutions. So as a startup, you can double click down into, you know, let's take lending, right? So you can double click down into consumer loan origination, and you can look at the various APIs that are offered around, you know, consumer loan origination. You could even filter by country. So it's a really helpful way of finding both FIs that are looking for an API provider to solve that business process, as well as you can see sort of where there's a lot of solutions and maybe yours fits in a business process that currently doesn't have too many solution providers. So it gives a nice sort of bird's eye view of the fintech market, so to speak.
And also, you know, the solutions catalog, I think that's one of the most amazing things that we have on board. You can literally, if you have something ready-made, or if we actively want you to, as part of APIX Care and the AMTD Fund side, we actively want you to upload your APIs if you have one, and many perhaps, and create your solution, stitch together your experiment on the APIX IDE, which is the integrated development environment, the sandbox, that's a core offering. In case if you are not able to do any of these, use your private GitHub account, connect to the IDE, port your solution, and bring it to the solutions catalog of APIX. What we vision together as APIX is that when you go out to do your sales calls or do these Zoom sessions 2 months, 3 months down the line, you should be able to take the financial institution onto your APIX profile and say, this is my profile, this is my background, these are the number of people who hit my APIs and like my APIs, and this is how my solution works. Everything at one place, right? And I'm not really sure if you will find a better catalog for what your capabilities are than APIX, supported by one of the best forward-looking regulators in the world, World Bank, MasterCard, AMTD, ASEAN Bankers Association, which is the umbrella association for 200 banks. It doesn't get better than that, I guess.
Yep. Wonderful. Okay, so hope this was useful to the attendees. We'll wrap up for now. We're going to post content from this presentation, as well as more information about the the APIX benefits on the APIX community. So that's at apixplatform.com. Sign up through the community button, join our community button, and you'll have access to all of this. We're going to be doing more of these in the coming weeks, related to specifics on how to use APIX, potential use cases, possibly even where some FIs are looking for solutions, and have kind of broadcasted a call